Hey everybody, happy Freeform Friday stream. How's everybody doing out there wherever you are today? I hope you've had a fantastic Friday. We are doing reorganization in the streaming and online sale area. It is so exciting.
It's amazing.
We have actual proper shelves instead of my, weirdo hutch that I got at a thrift store that Heather's been making do with for the past year. So yes, we have a lovely new set of shelves that things are going to get organized onto. It's very, very exciting. So yes, reorganizing is always kind of cathartic. There's always that midpoint, for me at least, where everything is mass chaos and you're like, why did I start this? What was I thinking? I had so much more energy when I began this project and now I can't stop. But we are proceeding apace, so I have drawers instead of it's very exciting.
It really is.
Yes.
Very exciting.
And the drawers are going to work so much better for Allison than they did for me.
Yes. And Heather has a beautiful set of shelves. Yes, which is fantastic. Okay, so Freeform Friday. So this means I'm going to pick a project and I'm going to try and do it on stream from start to finish. So what I've picked is, I love, and you see these all over Pinterest by amazing artists like this person who has her watermark on the photo. So let me be very clear, this is not my design, but there's these beautiful wire sun catchers. Hey, Aso. I was holding that up to the camera, it was blocking the chat. So yeah, you see these beautiful wire sun catchers all over Pinterest, and they're really gorgeous and a little bit more complicated than what I feel like I could do on a tutorial stream when I have to actually explain everything. So we're going to try one as a freeform. And so I picked the lotus, and there were 3 that I kind of put up on my teaser photo on Facebook. One of them involves a torch, so I may do that one on a future stream, but I wanted to do one for the right. Exactly, Mary says she has a whole pin board. I don't have a whole pin board just of those. I have them incorporated into my massive inspiration pin board, which I should probably at some point take the time to separate out into multiple pin boards, but yes. So we're going to start with the lotus. There are a couple of other ones that we may fold into future Freeform Fridays, but I wanted to start with one that did not involve a torch. I wanted to start with one that was just wire wrapping. So I'm going to do the lotus and we're going to see how this goes. So as far as what I'm going to need, I think I'm going to need, well, I know I'm going to need wire. So I'm going to have some 14 gauge wire. That's going to be the majority of all of these base shapes that you see here. I'm going to use 24 gauge wire to wrap everything together at the connection point. That's going to be so it's got a little bit of sturdiness to it, and then to put on the beads I'm going to do 26 gauge wire because the bead attachment doesn't need to be that sturdy. And then I just have an assortment of kind of pretty sparkly little crystal beads for the drops, and then I've got these darker cobalt crystal beads that I'm going to use for the embellishment. Now, of course, the artist who did this has done a really great job of incorporating all of the chakra colors and such in here. I'm not going to get that fancy on this stream, but of course, your embellishment is what you make of it. So you can get as fancy with your embellishments as you want. So I started by taking this picture, this lotus, and breaking it down into, basically there are 5 separate shapes that are wrapped together to make this lotus. So my first attempt is going to be to make these shapes. Now, this artist has really nicely incorporated a lot of hammering of ends and edges and things, and we'll see if I have the time to do that, or if I feel like it's going to go, well, I mean, it's obviously going to go faster if I don't, but we shall see if I feel like I want to. Do I want to pound on everything?
I would like to pound on everything, but I'm not gonna.
Well, you get to rearrange things. I mean, if you want to trade, you can come over here and pound it. I can organize. The problem there being that you won't know where I put anything.
Yeah, that's wonderful, but
okay. Well, Lori says pound on it for her because it's been a frustrating day.
Extra for me.
All right, I will pound then for the sake of everybody who cannot pound. Also, I'm going to turn on my ring light. So I did another tech reorg as well, and knock on wood, everything is working, thank goodness. And I have a new speaker so that I can hear y'all next time we Zoom without having to wear an earpiece, and it is strong.
Oh my goodness.
I put on a thing from the internet to do a sound check, and there was a little bit of lag, so I turned the speaker way up because I thought that I couldn't hear it, and then it was very, very loud.
And then I was at a rave.
Yes, exactly. So and then Heather was dancing, and then it was fun times at the Beating Dreams. But
it's always fun times when Heather dances.
Fair. Hence the Heather dance move. Nothing fell off the shelves. It was not quite that loud, but yeah, it was definitely like, wow, that's loud. So, very excited about the new speaker and the fact that all the tech is currently working, and yeah, so it was a good day here at the Beating Dreams, and we made actually a decent amount of money as well, so very happy about that. Okay, so the cool thing about, of course, this sort of suncatcher-y thing is you can scale it however you want. So I'm going to go for making mine about 4-ish inches long, not including the little dangle bits. So the first shape I'm going to make is going to be this one here. So if I'm going to do 4 inches long, I need at least double that, 8 inches plus a little bit extra. I'm just going to cut a foot because you can always cut extra off. So I'm cutting a foot of my bronze wire. Again, this is 14. It's kind of hard to tell what gauge this actually is from this photo because you don't quite know the scale. And this isn't, I never went and found the Etsy listing for this. It's just the photo that's on Pinterest. So, this here could be anything from, 2 inches to 12 inches. And then, so the scale of the wire is going to be proportional to that. So I just picked 14. So I'm going to decide to start my shape right here at this kind of beginning hook part. And I'm going to end at the top loop. And that way, if I have too much wire, it'll be easy to cut it off. Okay, so that means I'm going to need a round nose pliers, which I happen to have handy right here. So we're going to start by making kind of this first curve and coming down with that. Now, something that's really cool about the photo is what the artist has done is she's made a lot of these fun little corners. These are actually one of my favorite corners to do, is to take your round nose and bend like so, so you get kind of a roundy corner, and then to take your chain nose, grab that corner and squish it. And with the 14 gauge wire, it's not that easy, but it makes for a really pretty shape and a slightly more interesting shape than just, a corner. And then if I'm going to pound, which everyone wants me to do, the inside of this is pounded flat, so I'm going to do that before I get more wires in the way. So I'm going to take my bench block and my hammer. I'm just going to smash on that. It's going to get loud, so if you want to mute me, you can do that for a minute. And you can hammer on the tip of that as well, just to give you that kind of cool flattened look. Now I'm going to go up. Again, I'm just following. So obviously, I did not miss my calling as an illustrator. Everybody on stream knows that, but drawing the patterns out for this makes it a little bit easier for me to sort of follow and create. And I'm not expecting to be able to make an exact is the word I'm looking for, exact replica of that sun catcher. I'm going for inspired by. Okay, so the next thing is to come up and make another one of these little points. So I'm going to come up here, bend this down, and again, grab my chain nose, and the trick here is you just got to catch your chain nose right at the edges of that wire, and then you just got to squeeze the living bejeezits out of it.
The living what?
Bejeezits! And it's going to want to twist on you like it's doing to me now, so you just have to stubborn through it. Really, and that's another reason that this is not a good tutorial project. Is stubborn through it isn't really a fantastic direction to have in a tutorial, but really that's what you got to do. So there's my top there, and then I'm gonna come down and make this kind of S curve going this way. Oh dear, Pam, I'm so sorry. Was the hammering really loud in your earphones? Oh dear. I hope we didn't deafen you. Okay, now when it's coming to this curve, I'm finding that my hands are not doing what I want. So I'm going to grab my trusty little ring stick and I'm going to use that to kind of help me bend that curve. And then once again, I need another point at the bottom. So like so. And then bejesus. I said it.
You did.
So, and then, so when you squeeze it, it's gonna, you know, change the relationship of those two, so you can just hold that as well as it will let you. Sometimes it doesn't let you. Come on. Really? Come on, I'm on the internet. Be nice. There we go. And then you can just bend that back out. Alright, and now we go, now we're gonna go back this way and up top. I would imagine that it was, yeah, I would imagine that it was shocking to hear the hammering on headphones for the first time. So there's that curve which we want to cross, under, over, under this curve. I don't know that it really actually matters whether this goes under or over, so I'm declaring under to be the winner in this. I'm a little bit, I want to kind of try and even, see how I'm a little cattywampus, I'm a little asymmetrical here, so I want to figure out what do I have to do to make that more symmetrical. I think I need to just make that curve a little bit wider. And bring this over, alright, like so, and then this is going to come up to the top here, and then make a curve that is going to be the actual hang loop of this. Okay, so like so, and I know I don't need all this wire to make the hang loop, so I'm just going to trim it off, like so. Oh, I trimmed it off too long. Mark a little bit more of that off there. And,
Sorry.
How dare you organize, Heather?
It's loud though.
I know, but you haven't dropped anything on me yet, so I'm happy about that.
I'm much more likely to drop something on me, to be honest.
Fair. Well, no one's gotten anything dropped on them yet. Now, I screwed up, because look, I said I don't need all of that. Except I did, because it doesn't go all the way to the center. So the solution to that is I'm just going to unroll this a little bit. I'm going to make my loop a little bit smaller, because this is the point, this is the top of my lotus, and so I want my hang loop to be centered above that point. And also I just noticed that that's actually wrapped to this top part, so maybe I didn't screw it up as bad as I thought. If we figure it's gonna be like that, okay, so looking back at my inspiration photo, these two are actually gonna get attached together like that, so I didn't screw it up. Go me. Alright, so this is my uh-oh. Heather just said ew. When you're digging in a bead store, that's never good. Never ever good.
No, I'm gonna take these things and
oh dear.
ew them.
Mary says she can care if you'd like her to. Alright, so now we've got
I
this.
can always count on Mary.
Okay, so this is one piece, and I can still continue to adjust this because it's a little bit wonky-tastic, but so far I'm pretty happy. Okay, so that's piece numero uno. Okay, my next three pieces are basically variations on the same shape. This one's got a little bit of a different kind of end bit, and then these have the straight pieces, but each one is slightly bigger than the previous one. So I'm gonna go with this first one. I'm gonna do 2, 4, 6 inches of wire. So I'm going to do 6 inches. 3, 6. So 6 inches, 8 inches, and 10 inches. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut all 3 of those pieces of wire at once. 6, 8, and 10. Whew. All right, 6 inches. 8 inches. 10 inches. Let me just, for grins, figure out what I'm going to do for this last one. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 10 inches for this last one as well. Actually, I'm going to do 12 inches because I am not completely sanguine about 10 inches being enough wire. Okay, so what I have is, and hold on, what was that Sharpie? Alright, so what I cut for each section is 12, 8, no, 6, 8, 10, 12. That last number is a 12, I promise. Okay, so that's what I cut for each of these. So 12 inches for the first one, 6 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, and 12 inches for the bottom. Okay, so now we're, oh wait, I need that. Allison, you need your template. Okay, so for these, I'm going to start actually in the center and work outwards, which means that I need my ruler back to find the middle of my piece of wire. So this is my 6-inch piece of wire, so I need to find my middle at 3 inches, and I'm going to start with a bend. And is it a pinchy bend? It's not, so it's just a regular bend. So I'm not going to pinch this bend, so I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to just make myself a 90-degree bend. Hi, auto exposure. All of a sudden you've decided that it's like the noonday sun here. Like, chill out, please. Nope. Auto exposure says, no, I shall not chill out. Chilling out is not my thing. Okay, fine. Alright, and one of these sides is longer than the other, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that extra off so that it's even. Okay, so now what have we got? We've got 2 little hooks. Okay, seriously, auto exposure. Hashtag not a fan right now of what my camera is doing because it's really hard to see. Let me see if I can make a little bit more reasonable exposure going on. I'm sad. Auto exposure and I, we were friendly for a minute there, and then apparently things got weird. Okay, so what do we have here? We've got these 2 little hook bits, and then we've got the bend. So the hook bits are going to go, and just take my word for it, they're going to go down, because then when we flip them over, they'll be curving the proper direction. So I'm just going to take my round nose pliers, I'm going to grab at the end of that wire, and I'm just going to bend a hook. And notice I didn't do I didn't put a whole lot of effort into forming that against my pliers, so I got a bigger hook than my pliers, and that was on purpose. So I'm just going to grab and I'm going to curve so that I have 2 hooks that look like so. Now, proportionally, this one actually, I need to bend it a little bit more because it's a pretty narrow V. And then ideally what's going to happen is these are going to come up and they're going to nestle right against here. So I'm going to take my round nose and I'm just going to bend these over like so and like so. And these pieces are curved in the original, so I'm going to just use my thumb to give those a curve. And I can already see this piece is a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be, but we're going to go with it because I think it'll still look pretty. The other thing in the photo is that these are bent a little bit more like that, which is a more pleasing line. I usually do that when I'm doing things like this. Okay, so this ideally is going to go and sit like that and be the next phase of the lotus, as it were. So now we're going to go to my 8-inch piece of wire, 8-inch piece of wire, which is this one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to find the middle. And I'm going to bend my V. So it's not a full 90 degree, okay? It's a little bit, this one here is a little bit acute, and this one is a little bit obtuse as far as angles go. And then I have, this one's got these little flat ends, which I don't know if I love those. Also, I just realized that these were supposed to be pointy bends here, but I'm not going to change them now, but I'll do pointy bends on the other ones, and hopefully that'll fix it. So this needs to go like so. So these are going to nestle inside of each other. So I think what needs to happen is, I need to go up about yay far, and I need to do a pointy bend, and then whatever's left is going to be my my ending bit. So I may need to play with that a bit. So that's my pointy bend, and so that's about 2 3/4 inches up. So I can do the same thing on my other side. So again, to do my pointy bend, I'm going to make a curved bend over my round nose, and then I'm going to take my chain nose and I'm going to squish it. And that is how you make the pointy bends. Okay, so now what needs to happen is these need to curve. Like so. And then we need to do something with these so that they will nestle right up against this. Now, I didn't give myself enough wire to do this. I should have cut my pieces of wire longer. So I think I'm just going to try turning them under. So essentially making a curve just like I did before, but the opposite way. So it's curving back towards itself instead of curving towards the inside of the shape. Alright, and I think what I need to do is I need to make this wider, I need to make these wider. I thought the solution was to make those more narrow, but I think to keep the lotus look, I actually need to, okay, that's what we're talking about. That's what I'm looking for. So now I need to make the third one even wider than this. So that's my 10-inch piece of wire. So I would say if you want to do this design in the photo, I would cut a solid 2 inches more for each of these pieces than I did. So instead of 6, 8, and 10, I do 8, 10, and 12. Wow, that was terrible. Let's try that again, shall we? Let's find the middle. Bend, and so this is going to be the most obtuse bend of all, because this is going to sit even on the outside of this one. So see, make you a little bit more shallow. Okay, so I think I'm going to go about there to make my pointy bend. So that's going to be about 3.5 inches out. Take your round nose and bend. Do the same on the other side. 3.5 inches. Bend. Also, you should try and do it the same way. So here's a fair point. Okay, so if I measure 3.5 inches and I grab there with my pliers, if I actually twist my pliers to bend, I'm going to make my bend in a very different place than if I actually bend with my fingers. And since I wasn't paying too much attention to what I was doing, I actually did that second one on my first side. So I've got to repeat that on my second side or they're not going to be the same. Then I can squish my bends to make them pointy like lotus petals. And squish and pull. And then once again, I'm going to just take these, I'm going to curve them underneath. Like so. And like so. So this should theoretically, once I curve these, and the way that I curve them is I'm literally just going to run my thumb along and press, and that's going to give me that nice long curve. So once I curve this, hopefully it will nestle. Actually curve a little bit more. Alright, we're gonna go with this. It's actually, so what I did that is not ideal is I should have actually made this bend further down to get that lotus shape that I want, but I still think it's going to be, there really is no way to fix that except for redoing it, which I'm not prepared to do at the moment. I don't know, we'll see. When I go to put it together, we'll see if this one is just so egregiously wrong that I need to redo it. But the problem I'm having is what I want is I want to be able to have this bent out and still have this nestling down here, but it's not long enough. What I should have done is bent it a little bit more, but okay. Maybe bending it that way will work. Yes, you know, it really doesn't when I hold it the proper way. I don't know, when I start to wrap my wires together, let's see if there's any way I can manipulate this wire to do what I want. And then the last shape is the bottom shape, which does include the little loop for holding dangly bits. So I am going to start actually here. I'm not going to start in the middle because it's really hard to reverse a spiral like this. It's so much easier to start in the center. And I will do a little bit more hammering when I'm done with this bottom piece. So this is going to start, essentially, this is going to be exactly the same shape as this here. So I'm going to take my round nose and I'm just going to start with a curve and then a point. So again, that's that round bend that I'm going to compress with my chain nose. And that actually goes like that. And then I'm going to come, sorry, I'm looking at my pattern. I'm going to come around here. And make another point here. Curve that. Now, let's see. So if I'm just kind of going to gauge the width of my lotus, so we want this to be about the same width as the outside side bits. I'm bringing in a little bit. So I'm going to make my loop right about there. Did you have foods?
Did.
Yay.
It was so good.
Awesome.
Sorry I escaped it.
It's okay. So I'm going to make my little loop. I just did that by wrapping around my chain nose pliers. And then I'm going to just reverse this. I'm going to go, what are you? You are about 3 inches. Alright, so this is kind of what I was afraid of. I don't have enough wire. I didn't cut enough. So the moral of the story here is cut more wire than you think you're going to need. So I'm just going to move this loop so that I can gain some more wire and shrink it a bit. So I'm just literally rotating it and then holding it and unfolding my wire so that I'm gaining back a couple of inches of wire. Sometimes you gotta hold it with the pliers while you unbend it, especially when you got thick wire like this. Okay, so now we're going to, now when I shrink that down to 2.5 inches, alright, we're gonna see if we can make that work. 2.5 inches, and we're gonna make a pointy bend. Oh, I used the wrong pliers for that, but that's okay. Here's the secret, is your chain nose pliers will also work for that. Squish. Separate. So I've got to come make a curve. Another point. And then finish out with a hook. So grab this in here and just rotate it around, and that's your hook. Okay, so it's not perfectly symmetrical because I did actually short myself on the wire on this, but it's not bad. I think that's doable. So that's my bottom piece. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little bit more hammering. So Linda, maybe take out your headphones for a minute. I'm going to hammer the edges of these, and I'm going to hammer the outsides edges of these. Pam, not Linda. Sorry, where did I get Linda from?
I don't actually know.
Pam, take out your headphones. Here we go. Alright, so a couple more people arrived just for the loud part of the stream. Hi people! So we're making a project inspired by this for anybody who doesn't know what we're doing. I did not make this project. This amazing artist down here made this project. I'm sure she has an Instagram that you can go follow for more beautiful things like this. I am making a slightly simpler version inspired by that. So what I have is now I have all of my wire pieces. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wire pieces. Now I'm going to start wrapping them together. So to wrap my wire pieces together, I'm going to use my 24 gauge wire, and I'm just going to cut myself a decent sized piece off of which to work, like a foot, 1.5 feet. I tend to want to work off of longer pieces just because reasons. Because there's less waste, but sometimes it is a little bit more awkward. Okay, so now we're going to start binding this together. So first thing I'm going to do is this loop is going to get bound to this tip right here. Now, when you're doing these bindings, the easiest way to do it is to take your wire, stick it down through one of the spaces you're going to be using, and don't do what I just did and yank it out, but pinch it in between your index finger and your thumb. And I'm right-handed, so I like to wrap with my right hand, pinch with my left hand, and then I'm just going to go around this that I want to wrap, and then through my hole like so. Pull it all the way through. Make sure that that doesn't happen. Those are the 2 points I want to wrap together. And then pull it nice and tight, okay? This is a huge thing, is you want to make sure that you're pulling tight. And then do the same thing. Go around and through. And if you want to put it up in that point, which I do, you're going to have to yank it a little bit around. And then what I'm going to do to keep this from migrating down is I'm just going to go around here a couple of times. And once you're done with your binding, you can trim off all your extra wires. So I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to trim this off. And then of course you're going to want to use your chain nose and press down all of your pokey stabby bits. So all of your little ends of wire that are poking out, you really want to make sure that you press them down. Now, it's not as important on a sun catcher since it's not going to be worn on clothing, but it's still kind of a hallmark of good finishing, is to not have anything as far as ends go that's going to stab you. Okay, so that's my center bit of my lotus with my hanging loop. Now we're going to start stacking on our other pieces. So I've got this piece here. So that's going to get attached at 4 points. It's going to get attached here, 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 and here. I'm going to start actually with here, and it's going to be easier for me to attach it and for it to stay if I just curve these over a little bit more so they're more like loops and less like hooks. It just makes it harder for your wire to just randomly slide off while you're wrapping it. So I'm going to attach, or I'm going to hold this where I want it to go, which is going to be there. And then again, pinch my wire, and this time I'm going to go through the hole here. And then around this, again, pull nice and tight through the hole here. And anytime you can find a little cheat like I just did to go around something instead of through a hole, it's going to make your life a little bit easier because it's going to make your wire less likely to kink. Alright, so I'm going to wrap those together like so. And then notice that right now my 2 pieces are overlapping. I don't want that, but a lot of times if you wrap them nice and tight, what you can then do is you can take your chain nose and you can just kind of press them down, and they'll wind up sitting really nice and tightly next to each other. Again, since this is a sun catcher and not a piece of jewelry, you don't have to make it as secure. Also, for the sake of time, I'm skimping a little bit on my wrappings here. So I've got, 3.5 to 4 that is holding this together right here. If I were blessed with a gracious plenty of time and patience, I would maybe do 5 or 6 just to make sure that it's secure. But I got a lot of joining to do and not a whole lot of time in which to do it. So there's that. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So just keep working off this same piece of wire, and I'm going to keep working off this same piece of wire until I've run out of it, and then I will cut another piece of wire. So again, insert that wire down through the hole and go around, and then up, and then slip it around. And also another trick is if you push the wire through and then pull it, rather than always trying to fish the end through, you're going to have a lot fewer issues with kinks. Alright, so around, through, and una mas, around, and then trim. So the takeaway here, because it's 7 o'clock, so I know if some of you plan to be done here at 7, obviously I'm not going to be done until closer to 7:30, but the takeaway here for anybody who has to scurry is that basically most of these kinds of designs are composed of individual elements that are then attached together. Now, if you're a torch person, you could also solder this together instead of wrapping it together with wire. I know that some of the people who were particularly excited about tonight's stream are not torch people, which is why I wanted to do a piece that was wire wrapping, but you could absolutely solder this together at all of these joints. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach this here and here. So whatever sun catchers happen to be on your Pinterest board, just take a look at them, break them down into their component shapes, make those shapes out of wire, and then wrap them together. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, or something like that. Alright, so I've got that attached there, and these joints are pretty stable already, so I don't need to do a ton of wrapping. It's just a little extra insurance. Well, it is easy, Mary. The sitting down and doing it part is always the less easy part of the process. I mean, how long? I've had all of these on my Pinterest board for years, and the only reason I'm actually making one is because I managed to make it part of my job. So, you know, no shame in the not actually making things game, or not actually making the complicated things. Alright, so again, wrapping these together. What? There's just me and a tally fet? Where?
In the chat.
But
I won.
I believe you. I'm just mad at my thingy for not showing me.
I'm mad at your thingy too.
Oh yeah, there's a tally fet. And an Amy. What the what? Uncool. Grr. Sorry. Bear with me while I, you know, attempt to fix this business. Because I want to see everybody's comments. I clicked on you. Yes, that's what I want.
Is it what you want?
Is what I want. What I really, really want.
I wanna.
Alright. See if that helps me, like, to actually see what everybody is saying. Somebody say something so I know if it's working. Hey, it's Mary. Awesome. Alright, we'll see. We'll see if it's working now. We're gonna go back to XSplit. Come back here. Alright. Alright, well I see Mary and ASO, so that's a good start. Okay, so I've wrapped these together, and now I'm going to trim my ends off. And also, it's worth noting, I think, that at any point, if you decide that you're done with this project, like, this doesn't have to be a lotus. Like, this also would be a really cool, just random shape of, you know, sun catcher or hanging decoration. So if at any point you're like, wow, this is way more work than I thought and I am so done with this, you can stop. You don't have to continue. You know, you can legitimately just be like, and now I'm done. And this project shall live in infamy. Alright, so I actually I should have made these lower as well, which is annoying. Let's see if there's really no way to fix you. I wonder if well, technically you're done working for the day, so you have there are no expectations. That's not technically true. So I'm gonna go with my creation of the lotus here is gonna be a little more abstract than the artist in the photo, which is not surprising considering that they obviously have a lot more practice with this design than I do, but I'm just gonna go for it. So this one is going to be here. Yes, shockingly, Heather. Here, and then down here at the middle. So 3 attachment points for this one. Also, no one believes that you didn't know that.
Yeah. I didn't expect
Don't worry, I compensate her for all the extra hours in booze. And sometimes food. Today was pizza.
Yeah.
Because I had a major panic attack. Okay, so I'm just going to keep wrapping this. Yeah, so I had a major anxiety attack when I was trying to order lunch. I ordered lunch for the staff every Friday. And I was just like, but what if they don't like this? But what if this person doesn't like this? What if this person doesn't like this? And finally I was like, screw it. Pizza. Everybody likes pizza. Anxiety, shut it. Okay, so I've got that wrapped on, trim off. And and it wasn't even ordering, because I thank the Lord for Uber Eats and group orders. Like, I let everybody order for themselves, but it's like picking the restaurant is the great, like, anxiety of my Friday mornings. 'Cause it's like, well, what if people don't like it, then they're gonna be grouchy all day, and then I have to deal with grouchy staff, and nobody likes grouchy staff, and so it's always a bit anxiety inducing. Okay, so now I'm going to do this side. Alright, so let's talk for a moment. Ooh, yay for frozen yogurt delivery. Alright, so let's talk for a moment about tomorrow night on the tutorial stream. We are going to be doing this project. This is our crochet lariat, which we have done before, but it's a little bit of a riff on it. It's a bit of a variation. It's got teardrops on the end, and we are using a metallic thread in with our silk thread, and I have this awesome selection of metallic threads, so I have no idea what color I'm going to use. And yeah, so that's tomorrow night, and then tomorrow night is Saturday, and then that's going to be followed, of course, by our live merchandise sale. And we're going to be doing some more cool stuff tomorrow night. I have no flippin' clue what yet, so it'll be a surprise. And then next week on the Beating Dreams stream, all right, we're not going to be doing any tutorials next week because I am going the following week shopping to the Denver Gem Show. Yes, I'm actually going to go to a gem show and purchase merchandise. I'm very excited by this because there are some things that I just haven't been able to get through the internet or through, you know, orders from vendors during this past year and a half. So in order to be able to acquire as much merchandise as humanly possible, I need cash. Yes, cash money. I need to turn beads into money in the bank account. So that means that next week we are going to be doing all live sales. We're going to be dark on Wednesday. We're going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 50% off all the strands, all the loose beads, and all the finished jewelry. I'm going to try and show as much as I can in those 3 days of live sales. We are also going to be doing our pre-sale gift certificate promotion where you can purchase a gift certificate towards the new merchandise for a plus of some amount. So I haven't quite decided how that's going to work, but the example here would be you purchase a $100 gift certificate and you get $125 worth of merchandise credit. Something like that is also going to be going on all next week because once again, more money equals more merchandise, and that is exciting. Oh, well, that's also exciting. My lotus is trying to eat my tech. Okay, so I've got my next stages of my lotus have been attached. So this is where I'm at right now. So now I'm at this one. So again, I think, okay, so I feel like my proportions here are definitely off. So one of the things that So, you know, this is one of those things that's practice. So next time I would make, if I were going to make this as wide as I did, I would make this part taller, I think. And once again, I would bring these points down a bit so that, so that they were a little bit further in. Oh, goodness. I've given you sunlight. I've given you dirt. That's all the singing you're going to get from me on stream. It is one of my favorite musicals, though. And I have to say, and I'm going to totally date myself, but does anyone remember Head of the Class?
Yes.
Which was a sitcom in the, it had to have been in the 90s, because I remember it.
Yes.
About, you know, a high school class of gifted and talented kids and their teacher and, you know, their wacky antics. Okay, so again, 3 anchor points. 1, 2, and then down at the bottom is 3. But one of the most awesome things for me as a theater kid is that every once in a while they would do a musical. And they did Hair without the, you know, nude scene at the end, and they did Little Shop of Horrors. And that was one of my favorite things about that show. Okay, I'm out of 26 gauge wire, so I'm going to cut myself some more. Alright, so now we're anchoring on, this is the last, I'm assuming you're talking about California?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, no celebrities went to school with me in college because I went to the University of Houston. One of my college classmates was on a couple of episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger, if that counts.
Yeah.
She actually, she's beautiful Hispanic woman. She actually is an amazing opera singer and was spectacularly wasted on episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger. But I would imagine that the episodes of Walker, Texas Ranger at that time in her life probably paid better than opera singing. And she was just a doll too, and she had the best hair. She had hair, when she let it down, it was down past her butt, this beautiful, just curly, not curly, wavy, thick, like the hair of my dreams. Like Heather's, only black. And then she would just wrap it up on top of her head with chopsticks, and it was just the most amazing thing. She was a doll. Her name is Naya. Her name was Naya. She's still alive. She's singing opera. I don't know where exactly, but okay. So I've got that. I decided in this instance that I wanted to start with this one, so I wrapped that one on. Then I'm going to trim my ends. It's not. Can trade anytime anyone figures out how to do that. Okay, so now I'm going to go here and here. You know what to do with it. You did the pretty thing with all the little sparkly bits the other day. And it was awesome.
Yes, but it fell down like 12 times.
Well, that's because you only had 5 bobby pins holding up your mass of hair.
That's fair.
Anyone will tell you you need... I need 5 bobby pins to hold up my hair, and I have like 25% of the hair you have, both in length and volume. So continuing to anchor these on. Dun, dun, dun. Also, I totally just realized that I said at the beginning of this tutorial that I was going to use 24 gauge wire to anchor all this together to give it a little bit of extra strength, and then I totally did not. I totally started using the 26 gauge wire. So it's a little bit wobbly. It's a little bit wobblier than I would have liked, but at this point in the process, I am committed, and so we're going to go with it. Again, making sure I trim my ends. Everything gets pressed down. And again, if your pieces are overlapping like so, then just crimp with a solid amount of force with your chain nose pliers, and they most of the time will snap back together. Once again, since this is an objet d'art and not a piece of jewelry that's going to be worn, it's going to suffer less abuse than a piece of jewelry would, shockingly. So it doesn't have to necessarily be as sturdy. That's my story, and I am sticking to it. So saith the me. Okay, currently everyone is on Twitch, so I can just leave that up, and I can leave that up. I can go back to that. Ta-da! Anyway, so continuing to wrap. So you've probably at this point noticed that it's pretty repetitive, that, you know, this is, at this point, it's just assembly, and I have one more piece to assembly. Hi, JJ! Alright, there's a JJ who's on the light side.
You did actually take home one needle.
Oh yay, who did take home one needle? That's awesome.
I didn't realize she could take all of them.
Got it. You go there, you go there. Ag! Okay. Ah! Oh well, I don't need that wire cutter anyway. That was... I went through the wrong hole.
Uh-oh.
Right?
That is not what anyone wants.
No, that is not what anybody wants. Alright. So in just a little bit we're going to get to embellishing, and I'm not going to get to embellish this whole thing because it's already 7:22. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do a couple of dangling bits off the bottom, and then I'm going to show you how you're going to add beads on each of these kind of arms of your sun catcher, and then I'm going to trust you all to know how to take it from there. Okay, now we're going to it's a poor decision to trust the stream to be able to take it from there. Well, that's fair, but I mean, I don't think that most of you are following along with me, so, you know, we can always revisit this on a Zoom. Though, I do have to tell y'all that since after next week of All Sales, next week of All Sales would be our Zoom week, and so we're going to be skipping Zoom next week, and then we're going to be skipping everything the week after because I'm going to be in Denver. So we'll be revisiting the Zoom Crafty Cocktail Hour. I believe it's actually the first weekend of October. Yes, so October 1st is going to be our next Zoom Crafty Cocktail Hour, but seriously, you can revisit this project then, and I can help you through the end of it. I promise. Alright, and so this... Alright, so my proportions are definitely off. Oh, well Heather could host... Well no, because Zoom's supposed to be next week, but you could host Zoom while I'm gone. Because Zoom is supposed to be... So the way the schedule is supposed to be, it would have been Zoom Crafty Cocktail Hour on the 17th and then Freeform on the 24th. But Heather has just offered to host Zoom on the 24th, so then we would have Zoom on the 24th and the 1st. If anybody wants to do that, that would be cool. Okay, so proportionally this piece is supposed to kind of actually come all the way down here, so that means I need to do some serious curving of these bits upwards. Did you order a giant gummy frog in your yogurt, Mary? No. Okay, so gratuitous giant gummy frogs in Mary's yogurt. I blame Heather, actually, for making the comment about being froggy. Or feeling froggy. It's all Heather's fault. Okay, so this is definitely the very abstract lotus is what I got going on here, but still cool. It's not an ugly lotus. No, don't do that. Okay, so alright, so I think this is what I'm going with. So this is going to get anchored here, and then here, and there. So again, 3 anchor points. The universe is feeling froggy. Well, okay, universe.
That's not surprising.
What? Oh, it's not surprising?
No.
Fair. I will say that there are a lot of adorable little froggies and toadies in my new neighborhood. Way more than anywhere else I've lived in Dallas.
I don't have many because they take care of all the bugs.
Right.
Except the fruit flies I breed.
Well, you know, you could actually get a pet toad to live in your apartment and eat the fruit flies. Okay, so I'm starting with this anchor point, which I think is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So we're going to see how this goes for me. Could ask, you know, the Robinsons for some of their baby toads.
Yes.
I've decided I like Robinsons better than Toysons, personally.
Yeah.
Alright, so there's not a whole lot of room in this, so I'm probably going to wind up with like 4 or 5 on here. Fair, Amy. Also, though, I think that was supposed to be frogs. Trim. Oh. Thankfully, the toads are always smart enough to hop the hell away from Ziggy, so knock on wood. Ziggy's never had an encounter with a toad, and I would like to keep it that way. Okay, now I'm going to anchor here, because, whoo boy. I have saved many forms of reptilian life from Ziggy. I feel like, I don't know, toads are maybe less resilient? I don't know. He has, knock on wood, he hasn't brought in anything in the past couple of days. His new favorite seems to be cicadas, which is just like, you can hear the sound of the pissed off cicada getting louder and louder and louder as he's bringing it in the cat door. Alright, one more anchoring, and then we can start embellishing. Yay, embellishing. So really, yeah, so as far as this looking like a lotus, not so much, but it looks still, it's still cool. So I'm going to go with cool looking lotus-esque shape. Thankfully, when Ziggy brought in the live bird, I did not have to deal with it. I did have to deal with it when he brought in the dead bird. Amy sent me the cutest photo the other day of Isosceles and Dolly watching Annie, and it was the cutest thing ever.
Which is PG.
Which is PG, so it's appropriate for both of their ages. Oh, I think Isosceles is a better hunter than Ziggy. Ziggy likes to catch things, but he doesn't really know what to do with them. I'm pretty sure the dead bird that he brought in was already dead, and he just picked it up and was like, hey, it's a new toy. This one smells cool. I'll take it home. Okay, so my kind of weirdo, abstract, lotusy, flamey shape is assembled. So yeah, you know, again, we're going with abstract, and what I think I am gonna do is I'm gonna take a minute and I'm gonna hammer this whole thing, and that's gonna stiffen it up a bit. So again, Pam, mute your headphones. So you want to be careful about hammering on all of those joints, because if you hammer too hard, you're going to break your wires, but it's got a little bit more structural integrity now than it did before. We're going to ignore the fact that it's asymmetrical. All right, and we're going to focus on a little bit of embellishment. Like I said, I'm not going to embellish this whole thing because I don't want to sit here for the next 3 hours. But I'll show you the basics for embellishing it. So let's start with dangly bits hanging off the bottom. So this is an obvious place to attach a dangly bit, but I'm going to make 2 more here and here. So I'm going to go back to my 26 gauge wire, which is back to being a pain in the arse. There we go. Thanks, Amy. Okay, so if I'm going to make an auxiliary hanging bit here, because if I just were to wrap a dangling bit around this part of my lotus, it would just slide to the center. So if I want to spread it out, I need to make an actual stationary point here. So doing that is actually fairly simple. I'm just going to wrap my wire a couple times around that frame. And by a couple, I actually meant 3. And then I'm going to hold my round nose pliers. I'm just going to grip my frame with my round nose, and I'm going to take this wire and I'm just going to carry it around my round nose like so. And do that next wrap. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a little spot that I can put a dangle. And then I can just continue to hold that flat with my chain nose and do 2 more wraps. And then of course trim my ends off. Go. So now that's a stationary bit that theoretically, if you crimp it down enough, won't slide around. And then I can do the same on the other side. So just 1, 2, 3. And then again, just go around your round nose pliers. This is the hardest part, is trying to grab this stupid wire. There we go. Push it up through that hole, grab it, pull it around. Once you've secured that first wrap around like so, then you can move your pliers and just do your remaining 2. And I said hold with your chain nose pliers earlier, but honestly holding with your fingers is easier. Trim. And trim. So there we go. So now we have 2 little hangers where we can put beads. And so if we're going to hang things from this, we're just going to use our basic wire wrapped loop, which I realize is surprising to exactly nobody on the Beating Dreams stream. What trash got not emptied?
Bathroom and mom's.
Ah, well, it is still a passing grade, it's true.
Yeah.
However, sometimes it's nice for people to actually want to achieve more than just a passing grade. Okay, so basic wire wrap loop, and I am going to show y'all how to make a, and I'm gonna do, all right, I'm gonna do a double drop here, and then I'm not gonna do these two because I'll show you on this one. So I'm gonna start with the bottom, which is gonna be a teardrop. If you're gonna make your own head pin out of wire, all you need to do is take your round nose pliers and make a little curl at the end of your wire, bring it back centered, and the only goal here is you need to make sure that that curl is big enough to stop your bead from falling off the end of the wire, which mine is. Now I'm going to do the ever popular basic wire wrap loop. That means we're going to go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate underneath. There's our lady with the scarf. I'm not going to link this onto anything. I'm just going to hold across my loop and wrap. Wrap down till you get to the bead, trim, and press your end down. Now I'm going to make a double-ended link to attach this onto my little lotus. And of course you can make as many of these as you want. I'm just doing 2 for time. So now I'm going to start with my piece of wire, and I'm going to grab with my round nose pliers a couple inches from the end. I'm going to go away, rotate, back up over the top, rotate, underneath, ta-da! Link that onto your teardrop, hold across your loop, and wrap. And trim. And then take one of your crystals, like so, and then we're going to do another. I know, but to be fair, Mary, this person is getting paid for emptying the trash as part of her job, so I'm slightly less, you know, A for effort and more like earn your paycheck.
And
that
free
was
lunch.
Heather. And free lunch, but still. Sorry, that wasn't Mary, that was Heather who said an effort was made. I appreciate effort, but also, it ain't that hard to empty the trash.
No.
And you got free lunch today.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my bitchy boss coming out.
Oh. I think it's deserved.
Luckily no one on stream right now works for me, except for Heather. Okay, so there you go. So you can basically, so what I did was that top one got linked onto here. So you can basically stack up this chain as long as you want and just make sure you link the last one onto here. Same with these two on the sides. Now, if I want to embellish this arm here with my tiny little crystals, that is the last thing that I'm going to show you tonight. You need to start with a piece of 26 gauge wire, and you need it to be a solid 2 to 3 times longer than the area you're trying to embellish. You're going to anchor it on nice and firmly with 3 or 4 wraps, so I'm just going to anchor it on right here. Okay, and then you can add beads on the outside, you can add beads on the inside, you can add beads on both. I think I'm going to add beads on the inside. So all I have to do to embellish the inside is I'm going to take a bead, thread it onto my wire. You're allowed to throw away Ziplocs.
I know.
I throw away perfectly clean Ziplocs, you know.
I do know that.
Because I don't want to deal with them. Because they just sit around and create clutter. Okay, so I've got my bead on there. All I'm going to do is hold it in the position I want it, so inside or outside, it's up to you, and then just wrap my wire around and do 1 or 2 anchoring wraps in between. So that's up to you. You can wrap once in between, you can wrap twice in between. Again, your call. And then you can squish all this closer together with your thumbnail if you want. So I'm going to show you that a couple more times. So put on your bead, hold it, wrap, there you go. It's a good use for Ziplocs, distribution of seeds. And I redistributed some of the Hairy Ball seeds to Jenny as well today. She was very happy to have them. So I would just continue this until I get to the end here. So just grab your bead, drop it on. Yay, hairy balls.
Yeah, what's not to like?
Wrap. Well, that depends on the context.
In this context.
In this context, there's
What's
nothing not to like about hairy balls. It's true. Help the pollinators.
Yes.
Oh, I had a swallowtail in my yard this morning. It was drinking from my lantana. It was so pretty.
Oh, I love it. Why do I not have any Tronex anymore?
Mine are on the floor, or they might be yours. I might have stolen yours. That might actually be why you have no Tronex. If mine are still on the back table, then that means I stole yours.
Well, yours seem to be yours.
Okay, so just continue that all the way up, and you just always want to anchor off the way that you started with 3 or 4 wraps. And you can literally embellish as much of this as you want. You know, if we go back to our inspiration photo, you know, this artist definitely spent a solid amount of time embellishing, because she's got embellishments on all of these ribs. She's got some fun different shaped beads that she's using, and then she's got dangles from all kinds of different places. So yeah, so that is hopefully enough information, yay, to at least get y'all started on making your own wire and beaded cool sun catchers. So this was a fun project. I should have maybe picked a simpler one for my first one, but yeah, hopefully this will get y'all started. And once again, we can revisit this on Zoom on October 1st, so if anybody wants to start one and needs more help to finish it, just you know, join us on that October 1st Zoom. We'll be happy to help you out. But for now, I'm going to sign off. So I am Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. For anybody out there who doesn't know me, I know there's like 10 of y'all hanging out, even though I'm 44 minutes late ending this tutorial. So I really appreciate that time. I'm glad I was interesting enough to keep everyone's attention with my kind of wonky lotus that I made here. But yeah, that was really, really fun. At some point when I have more free time, I would definitely want to make more of these. So I'm Allison from Beading Dreams in Dallas, Texas. We are, for anybody who doesn't know about us, we're an actual brick and mortar retail bead store. That means that you can come to Dallas, to Lovers Lane, and you can visit us at our store. If you're not local in Dallas, of course, you can find us on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, 5 times a week with complimentary tutorials. We are here Wednesday through Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time, plus Thursdays at noon. And every Wednesday and Saturday night, we also do live merchandise sales at 7:30 p.m. So tomorrow night, Saturday, we're going to be doing this project on stream. This is our crochet lariat. Should be lots of fun. We are also going to be doing a live merchandise sale at 7:30, and since it is Saturday, that means it's our Sips Shopping and Shenanigans sale. We are going to have our signature cocktail, which is going to be the Beekeeper's Balm. So it is a rum and lemon balm and honey cocktail, which is inspired by the fact that I have lemon balm growing in my garden and I have no freaking clue what to do with it. So we're going to drink it tomorrow. So that's going to be tomorrow night at 6 and 7:30. I hope everyone has a fantastic Friday evening. Congratulations on making it to the weekend, and we will see you all back on this channel. Twitch.tv/ Okay, well, do you need me to drop off lemon balm on your doorstep, Mary? Like, we shall figure this out. Or you can come and be live studio audience. That's also possible. But anyway, we'll see y'all back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beating Dream. Maybe we'll see some of y'all in person tomorrow. But either way, we are looking forward to seeing each and every one of you very, very soon.